Look at him. A man who once had everything and lost it all. Daniel Carter wasn't born lucky. He built his success from nothing. A small apartment in Chicago, a laptop, and one idea that changed everything. Within just 3 years, that idea turned into $1 million tech startup. Investors wanted him. Media followed him. People called him the next big thing. But success has a dark side no one talks about. It doesn't break overnight. It collapses slowly, silently, from the inside. One bad deal. One wrong decision. One person he trusted too much. And suddenly, everything started falling apart. The money slowed down. The team started doubting. Investors disappeared. And then came the email. Just 2 words that ended everything. We're out. No warning, no second chance. In one moment, Daniel Carter lost the company he built from nothing. The office went silent. The dreams disappeared. And for the first time in years, he had nothing left. But what happened next was something no one expected. Because sometimes, losing everything is the only way to build something real. Look at him. A man who once had everything and lost it all. Daniel Carter was the kind of guy people talked about. Not because he was lucky, but because he built something real. A tech startup in Chicago. Started from a tiny apartment with nothing but a laptop and a big idea. Within 3 years, that small idea turned into $1 million business. Investors were chasing him. Podcasts wanted him. People called him the next big thing. And honestly, Daniel started believing it too. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you about success. It doesn't collapse overnight. It cracks slowly, silently. One wrong move. One deal you shouldn't have signed. One person you trusted too much. That's all it takes. At first, Daniel ignored the signs. The small losses, the delayed payments, the tension in his team. It's normal, he told himself. Every business goes through this. But deep down, something didn't feel right. And that feeling was about to change everything. At first, it didn't look like failure. It looked like a small setback. A deal that didn't close. A client that suddenly disappeared. A payment that got delayed. Again and again. Daniel kept telling himself, it's just part of the game. But business doesn't fall all at once. It leaks. Slowly, quietly. The cash flow started tightening. Bills stacked up. Investors stopped returning his calls. And the team, the same team that once believed in his vision, started losing confidence. You could feel it in the room. The silence in meetings. The forced smiles. The questions nobody wanted to ask. Are we going to be okay? Daniel had no answer. So he did what most founders do. He pretended everything was fine. He smiled. He reassured everyone. He said, we're close to turning this around. But inside, he knew the truth. Things weren't getting better. They were getting worse. And then came the moment. The one email. That changed everything. The email came in at 2:17 a.m. Daniel was still awake, staring at his laptop, refreshing his inbox like something might magically change. But this time, it did. Subject line: "We're out." His biggest investor had pulled out. No warning. No second chance. Just a short message, ending everything he had built. Daniel read it once. Then again. And again. Like his mind refused to accept it. Without that funding, there was no runway left. No salaries. No operations. No business. The next morning, he walked into the office early. Empty. No noise. No energy. Just silence. One by one, his team started coming in. And for the first time, Daniel didn't have a speech ready. No motivation. No fake confidence. Just the truth. "We can't continue." Those 3 words hit harder than anything he had ever said in his life. Some people looked shocked. Some stayed quiet. Some just nodded, like they saw it coming. Within hours, the office that once felt alive was completely empty. Chairs pushed in. Lights off. Dream over. And Daniel? He stayed behind. Sitting alone. In the same place where it all started. That night, Daniel didn't go home. He just sat there. In the dark office. Surrounded by everything he had lost. No team. No investors. No business. Just silence. And regret. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to feel it all. The pressure. The failure. The weight of expectations collapsing all at once. Maybe they were right. He whispered to himself. Maybe I'm not built for this. Hours passed. His phone buzzed. Again and again. Missed calls. Emails. Notifications. He ignored all of them. Because deep down, he felt like it was over. Completely over. Then, around 2 a.m., something strange happened. Not a miracle. Not motivation. Just clarity. Pure, uncomfortable truth. He opened his laptop one last time. Not to check emails, but to look at his own mistakes. Every failed decision. Every ignored warning. Every time he chose ego over reality. And for the first time, he didn't blame the market. He didn't blame investors. He blamed himself. And instead of breaking him, that truth woke him up. That morning, Daniel didn't feel motivated. He felt responsible. And that changed everything. Instead of chasing another big idea, he went back to something simple. What actually works? No hype. No ego. Just reality. He grabbed a notebook and started writing down every mistake he had made. Overhiring too fast. Spending money he didn't have. Trusting people without checking the numbers. It wasn't pretty, but it was honest. Then he asked himself a second question. If I had to start from zero, what would I do differently? This time, There was no rush to scale. No pressure to impress anyone. Just one goal. Build something that actually makes money. He started small. No office. No team. Just him and his laptop again. But this time, he focused on solving one real problem. Something people would actually pay for. No investors. No shortcuts. Just value. And slowly, very slowly, something started to change. Time didn't stop for Daniel Carter. But his old life did. No headlines. No investors calling. No podcasts. No hype. Just silence. The same silence that once felt like failure was now his rebuilding ground. Daniel wasn't chasing anything anymore. No fame. No validation. No next big thing label. Just one simple goal. Build something real. Months passed. Slowly, the small product he rebuilt from scratch started to move again. No aggressive marketing. No big funding rounds. No flashy announcements. Just users staying. That was the difference this time. People weren't just trying it. They were using it. And Daniel noticed something he had ignored before in his old life. Consistency beats hype. One morning, an email landed in his inbox. From a company that had once rejected him without a second thought. Subject line: Let's reconnect. Daniel stared at it for a moment. No excitement. No shock. Just calm. Because the version of him who would have panicked for approval was gone. He replied after a few hours. We're not looking for funding right now. We're focused on growth. Simple, clean, certain. For the first time in his life, he wasn't trying to be chosen. He was building something that could stand on its own. Weeks turned into months. And the same project that once looked like a last attempt started becoming a real company again. This time, not driven by ego, but by understanding. No shortcuts. No fake scaling. No burning cash for attention. Just value. Just patience. Just truth. And one day, Daniel walked into a small office again. Not the massive glass building he once lost, but a quiet space filled with a small team that actually believed in the product. No noise. No pressure. Just work. He looked around and realized something simple. This wasn't a comeback built on luck. It was built on failure. And then Daniel said something that stayed with everyone in that room. I didn't lose everything because I wasn't capable. I lost it because I wasn't ready to understand it. He paused. Then added, Now I am.